Hey there, I'm Mike Ferrantino, Ryan Cleek. This is Ryan Palmer.
You're with the Ryans.
With the Ryans. I'm sandwiched between the Ryans. We are here in Marquette, Michigan at the Bike Magazine Bible of Bike Tests. We're about to talk about a transition. And we're not having a segue, we're talking about a transition bicycle. Transition Smuggler, 29-inch, shortest travel, aggressive geometry bike that they've had out for a few years now. This is a newer interpretation on it. They've bumped up the travel from 115 millimeters in the rear to 120. Frames, $19.99. The complete bike as we tested it with SRAM GX componentry was $39.99. What do you guys think?
Well,
Ryan?
first of all, it's not a. Let's start with weight, right? Because it's not a light bike. It was 32 pounds without pedals on it, which, for a bike with this little travel is not a little amount.
It is not a cross-country racer.
But I found that it rode lighter than that. Like it was a good handling bike. It was snappy. It was playful. It climbed well with efficiency.
Yeah, I agree. It's not inefficient. Despite that, it's a capable pedaling, very smooth pedaling, efficient machine. It just has, just due to componentry at that price point, you get some weight, some rotational weight.
Right.
Yeah, with a higher end build, you could certainly knock off a couple pounds. If you went with a nice light set of wheels, that would help a lot in the bike's acceleration. Not to say that it didn't accelerate well, but it could do a lot better.
So that may be putting the cart before the horse in terms of hitting a $4,000 price point. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about this as it was, how it behaved, how it rode. It climbed, if not spectacularly, capably, with dignity.
Indeed, absolutely.
With dignity.
What did you think of how the suspension worked? This is a 120 mil travel bike, 140 mil travel fork. Their geometry is real steep seat angle, real slack head angle, slightly shorter fork rake than they've been doing. It's part of the whole SBG package. Long front and center.
Yeah.
But the reach on this, on our size larger, is 475 millimeters or thereabouts.
Right.
It's and a big long wheelbase.
Yeah.
Like
it is a long bike.
47, almost 48 inch wheelbase. Which, on paper, that seems like a lot of bike to move around.
It didn't feel like a lot of bike.
Not at all. I thought this was a fun, playful, and a really enjoyable bike to ride. You could kick it around off of your line. You could ride it with a lot more aggression than you would think you could for a 120 mil travel bike. To me, it seemed like, and I really enjoyed it.
I agree. I mean, we've got so many bikes here that we're riding over these weeks, and sometimes you kind of lose track of this is 120, 130, 140, and before, as you're setting it up before you ride it. And I rode this bike, several times, and I was shocked to find out that it was 120 travel rear. I thought it was at least 130. I figured it might be 140, and the front was a 150 travel. And to your point, I was just able to mad dog through rough rocks, roots. It just feels planted, but yet not lazy, and extremely stable. And
it's a stiff bike too. Sometimes when you go with an aluminum frame, you can get a little bit more waggliness.
But when you've got
this thing is
7.3-ish pounds of frame and
it's
shock,
not waggly-ish.
it's not a lot of waggle there. I thought this was a superb bike to ride in that regard, and I even wrote the cliche down. Feels like it has more travel than it does.
Yeah.
And that said, you'd mentioned weight before, weight and spec kind of thing. I thought the suspension on this bike was great. Fox 34 front, Fox shock rear. They mated really well with the suspension design and just provided a plusher and more efficient ride than you would normally be getting when you're trying to hit a price point.
Right.
Yeah.
You can get a carbon bike in this travel from other brands out there.
Right.
But you're not going to get this quality level of spec.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
you might though. Look at what about like mail order brands like YT, right?
Yeah.
They've got a bike. They've got a Jeffsy that almost matches. It's a carbon frame.
And it's $4,000,
and that's the same
it has
customer.
XT parts.
Yeah. And where I'm on with that is like there are lots of people who still don't trust carbon, who want something that's burly. They can put it on the back of a shuttle rig all day long. They can ghost ride it off a 40-foot gap jump if they want to, and the thing's going to hold up. This is a bike that's going to last. So if you want to invest in something and you want to swap parts around on it for years to come and have this frame until all the paint's chipped off of it, this is one that's going to do that.
You could unthread your bottom bracket
and
thread
a
another
new
one
one
back in.
It feels like a Pacific Northwest bike.
It is very much in Transition's whole signature identity of a bike. It defies categorization a little bit. It's not exactly a long travel cross country bike.
No, I wouldn't say that at all,
nor is it a short travel free ride bike or park bike, but it is capable as a park bike. It's a really pedalable bike.
Sounds like this is the bike for a rider who's just looking for durability, likes to push, technical terrain, and isn't, overly concerned about having the lightest, most finesse, machine out there.
Yeah.
I think, for me, I would buy one in a heartbeat, but if I was a betting man, I'd hold out and I would probably, even though it would cost more, I'd spend like $1,000 more on a carbon fiber one if Transition was going to make one. So, that said, this is a bike that's definitely worth looking into if you're looking for a competent, aggressive trail bike in a big wheel size that can handle a broad range of riding, but definitely likes to be beaten kind of hard. That's what we got to say about that. If you want to hear what we got to say about 35 or so other bikes here at the Bible, check out our YouTube videos or look for us on bikemag.com.